Okay, so I'm under the S10. I had my son pull the drive shaft. He started pulling the tranny, and I am finishing it up now. The tranny is out. I pulled the 4 bolts. He already had the drive shaft out. I pulled 4 bolts, 2 on each side of the cross member, and then 1 in the center. Jacked up the tranny, and then pulled out the cross member. Put the jack under. Now the tranny will still stay in there because it's in the motor. So the input shaft. So what I did was I put the the jack under the tranny, and then I wiggled. I had it like literally, just a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch under the tranny. Wiggled it out, and it dropped right on the tranny. It's pretty easy to balance if you put it right here on the where the tail shaft meets the tranny, and then I just lowered it down, and then I'm pulling these bolts. And I just wanted to mention, when you're doing your V8 swap and you're banging out right here, I'm sorry I didn't turn the light on, I apologize, it's too late now, but right here where this bolt meets the belt housing and the motor, you can barely get in there to get a ratchet wrench to get that bolt off. And then even then, what I had to do was I had to wiggle the belt housing and then pull the bolt off, because I couldn't get the bolt off because it was hitting here. So once I pull this out, I'm gonna bang out here just a little bit so that I have a little bit of space. But I just wanted to mention, when you're banging that lip out up top to put the V8 swap in, I would suggest, just for later on when you're doing clutch or tranny fluid or whatever, when you need to take this bell housing off, or whatever you need to do, that's going to be a real pain in the ass. I would give that a couple of bangs. It did come out, but it barely came out. Give that a couple hits with a hammer and you'll be good. It is, so here's the lower control arm, here's the frame, all right, and then it's, if I'm looking level, all right, the bell housing sits crooked. I'm not crooked on the camera. This is the way the bell housing sits, okay? It's, all right, so here's the top, center, 1, 1, 2, 2, all right? So at the top, second one where it meets, all right? So now what I'm doing is we're pulling this bell housing off. Anybody who's been following knows that we've been having some slave cylinder issues, and as you can see, the collector is right here. It's a little dark, but this is a collector, and it's down a little bit because of the way it's sitting here. But right here is where the slave cylinder sits. It's right in front of the collector. So we're changing out the bell housing. I have, I forgot the model number. I will show it in a later video, but I know the last numbers are 383. On that bell housing, it has a different cutout. It does not have this piece for the slave cylinder. So what we're doing is we're pulling this out, and then what my buddy's gonna do is he's on the other on the other bell housing, there is a mock spot here, but it's just an impression, and then here is the pivot point. We're gonna cut this pivot point off from the other side, from in here, and he's gonna drill that out and put the pivot point. When it's done, I'll show you in a later video, but this bell housing for a manual is not working. Okay, so many people have done automatics, and now I really see why. The only thing I have to do still in order to get this bell housing off is I got a bolt right here and another one on the same exact side over here. Right, yeah, over here. All right, just on this little dust guard for the bell housing. but it's off. It's just sitting on here. It just won't come off until I pull that piece off. But I just wanted to let everybody know the Camaro and the Firebird bell housing. I'm sure you can, I mean, maybe eventually you could figure something out, but I couldn't figure anything out. This bell housing is not going to work because we cannot get the clutch master cylinder to mock up to the Camaro slave cylinder, because the Camaro slave cylinder is plastic. So I can't even take the fitting off and just put it onto the other clutch master cylinder, because I have more than one. I have the 85, I believe, Blazer, which is a little bit different setup than the this is a 93 S10, and not the bell housing, the slave clutch master cylinder. And if you saw my video of Tim's S10 V8, on his, he already had clearance between the clutch master cylinder. We took ours out, but between the clutch master cylinder and the header. All right, ours was touching it right here where you can see me waving my finger. Ours was touching it, so we took that out. Let's see here. So all right, this is the Camaro, this is the S10. All right, the diameters are different. I showed you in another video, but it doesn't matter. Even if they were the same, the fittings are different. Okay, this is the fitting. This is the fitting for the Camaro, and the S10 one. Okay, this is the S10. This is also a plastic one, but this is off a 93. I don't know what happened with that shaft, but for some reason it was working. We're gonna take that bearing out, and we're gonna put it in the one for the 80s S10, and we're gonna just use all the. We're gonna use I believe it's an 85 Chevy full size. I will post a video of all those, but this is the fitting from the S10. It is nowhere near the other fitting. Okay, so there's nowhere, I'm sorry, there's no way these two are gonna fit. Unfortunately, if it was the other way, around, I could cut some off of this one. This is the Camaro one, this is the one I need. So I need this one to be longer and not this one to be shorter. Okay, and these are both plastic. Okay, so what we're doing is we're welding a bracket to hold the slave cylinder on the bell housing, and we're going to use metal fittings. Okay, let's see where it is here. Sorry, I have a big mess in here. We've been doing this for a little while. As you can see, we're going with the flex fan. I'll post another video about that when it's done. Apologize, but here is this is the clutch master we're going to use from the 80s Blazer or S10. It doesn't really matter, I'm sure, but this one has a different angle, so it's going to clear the headers. All right, before we were having problems. All right, it goes right here, right here. We were having problems. It came out and it touched right here, even after banging out the headers. All right, on the 80s one, it has more a downward angle than an outward angle. All right, sorry, it's hard for me to do that. All right, the S10 was more like this. The Blazer one is more like this. I don't think it has anything to do with it being a Blazer. I think it's more about the year. I'm not sure. But what we're doing is we're using the 80s Blazer clutch master, and as you can see, it has a metal fitting. Okay, so then we're going to take the metal fitting and bought some copper line with some fittings on them. Sorry that this isn't focusing. I don't know why it's not focusing, but I'm going to put this fitting right into here. Okay, and that fitting will go in, and then here's another fitting, and this is going to go into the, I'm not sure what, because I can't get into my phone right now, but it's an 80 something, I believe, a full size. I will post it in a future video so you can check that out. That should be in a day or two, because I have my buddy, he's, like I said, he's welding me up. Unfortunately, my particular bell housing that I sent out with him is aluminum, so it needs to be somebody who can weld aluminum. But basically, this is what we're doing. We're changing the clutch master. It's getting a metal fitting, because we could not find any of these with metal fittings. These are slave cylinders. Okay, so we're getting a different slave cylinder that is metal and also has a metal fitting. Okay, and he is doing that up. So like I said, I am in the process of taking that clutch, I'm sorry, the tranny and the bell housing out. Be out in a couple more minutes, and that is our fitment issue. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm going to post another video about how far we've gotten with the motor, so check it out.